Welcome, welcome to Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Boy, we're cutting it close today. Usually I get here a lot earlier and I get to go over things, but for some reason I'm just making it today. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy life to tune into the Mystery School. Life's a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. Everything's been so emotional, highly Mars in Scorpio for 2 months, along with everything in Scorpio. But now emotions cool off as we end January. February is like a cooling off period for a while until the sun goes into Pisces. So that's a good couple of weeks there where we get to a lot of with all that Aquarius energy and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We're going to talk about from the Mountain Astrologer. This is the December-January issue, and Emily Trinkus says about this January 31st full moon. We had a full moon on the 1st. This month start with these are super moons now, and which means the moon is very close to the Earth. I tell you, that veil, for many, many reasons, is very thin. Use it. I strongly advise, as long as you surround yourself with the love and light of the Holy Spirit. Einstein, one of my favorite Einstein quotes I found in one of my files. I wrote it down last July. The most beautiful and profound emotion we can experience is the sensation of the mystical. It is the sower of all true science. He to whom this emotion is a stranger, who can no longer wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead. Wow. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, Tesla said, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Yeah, we're going to talk more about that, because I decided every time I see Tyson deGrasse there and all these other Carl Sagan, scientists, linear thinking people, logical people, are missing the whole, they poo-poo psychics and any kind of non-physical healing and alternative healings, and they just don't get. I found a book by Carlos Ravelli, and it's reality is not what it seems. So instead of criticizing all these people every time they come on TV, I go, I decided, Frank, stop criticizing, take your own advice. And now I'm doing my own research into quantum gravity. The journey into quantum gravity. Reality is not what you seems. Yeah, so we're going to get into this. There's some sentences in here that'll blow you away. So it's got some not light stuff here, The Leo full moon at the end of the month now, and in California, the West Coast, that's 5:26 a.m. So probably most of us will be just waking up on the West Coast. It'll be 1:26 p.m. in the afternoon on Greenwich Mean Time. Okay, the Leo moon represents a powerful opportunity to heal our hearts and expand our capacity for love. And because it's a total eclipse, when our shadows are revealed, we can see more clearly everything in our life that is not yet love. Wow, I brought something in, Louise Hay said, about love. Yeah, anyway, Mars is conjunct at this Leo new moon, helping us to feel into the open-hearted state that represents our highest growth. I'm a student of Louise Hay from way back, and she says something about, I find that many problems come from self-rejection and self-hatred of one degree or another. Many people, for some reason, keep creating uncomfortable experiences for themselves through drug abuse, alcohol abuse, smoking, food abuse, for example, rotten relationships, I'd throw that in, until they are willing to release the need to punish themselves. Wow, there's not a lot not a lot that can be done for them on a permanent level. Yeah, without that. In some cases shows signs of healing, but the results is often temporary. When love is present, things are different, even with life's threatening illnesses. For example, it's amazing to, she goes on and on. Yeah, she says, starts us off with a corny thing. The Beatles sing, "All you need is love." I believe it's true. The current of love is what flows through everything. All healing techniques in the world won't really help unless love goes with them. So many people think a healer is going to help them, a fortune teller or a gifted psychic. No, take a good look in your life and start working on your nasty habits, your character defects. That's why we're here. That's why we're here on this Tara. So lunar eclipses, opposite the Leo moon and the Aquarius sun, that's 11 degrees. And 2018 is an 11, I'm seeing if we're taping this, we are, 11 year, added up. See, in numerology, 11, 22, 33, 44, those are master numbers. You don't reduce them to single digits. 2018, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's a master year, 2011. So the United States of America, day and month is July 4th, which is 11. So for the United States of America, 11 and 11 is 22. So this is universally a year of revelations. Last year, seeds were planted. This year, we see, next year, we see the sprouts come up of the seeds that we planted a few years ago. 2 years ago. Okay, so on this remember full moons, the tides go high, our bodies are water mostly. So it's always keep our emotions in tune and simmer down now. Keep our, they have telephones now, I saw on Dr. Oz, that they're apps that, I don't have a cell phone, I refuse to have one, but they have apps that can tell your emotion. If you call up and complain that you don't have your batteries, that's crazy. Okay. More devices, Yeah, the moon is conjunct the Leo North Node, helping us to feel into the open-hearted state that represents our highest soul growth. The moon is already also precisely conjunct Earth's, Mother Ceres, And then how February will almost be here, and according to Leah Whitehouse, who writes the forecast in the February-March edition of the Mountain Astrologer, I ran out of the house and with only my watch on, but usually I always put a couple of rings on. I have a lot of sentimental, not expensive, but trinkets I like to wear. And I was going to talk about, I guess I'm doing this on the Natch today, because I believe I like shine, nice things, but they got to have a utilitarian. They got to earn their keep. They have to have they have to be useful. Utilitarian purpose, not like the pinky. Wear a ring on your pinky if you want to communicate. If you're meditating, put your thumb as your will. Put your thumb and your pinky together, and if you want to get in information, answer questions. If you're all about love, your Venus finger. That's where people put the wedding band on. Put your will finger on your Venus, and then open up your heart. Surround yourself with the love and light. Do some Om Mani Padme Om. Remember, Om Mani Padme Hung. It's pronounced Hung, H-O-O-N-G, but it's spelled H-U-N-G. But that's the Tibetan word for bringing from the spiritual into the material. And then, of course, Saturn, the middle finger. When you want structure, when you have to, be responsible. So I wear a lot of fingers, my middle finger, I need structure because my Venus in Libra is lazy. And then, of course, your Jupiter finger. I like to wear a finger. If you notice my shows, I always have fingers that we're not. So if you want to expand, put your will finger, your thumb on your Jupiter finger, and then feel the growth, feel whatever you're doing being prosperous, February begins amidst eclipse season. Lunar eclipse just occurred on the last day of January. That's coming up on the 31st. That's Wednesday here on the West Coast and on the East Coast, I guess. As this colorful Leo lunation was tightly conjunct the corn goddess Ceres, Ceres, we're acutely aware of dormant seeds of creative potential that are now ripe for developing. We're almost halfway between this winter solstice and the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, shifting from darkness to light. As the sun reaches 15 degrees Aquarius on February 3rd, it marks the traditional Celtic festival of Imbolic, embolic, from an old Irish word meaning in the belly. Ceres is the only heavenly body in retrograde motion this month, encouraging us to tend to these first flutters of inner growth. On February 8th, Uranus leaves a 5-degree orbit of its square. Now this is important, if it's square to Pluto, because everything we're dealing with now, the Trump, the coup that they're trying to gaslight America into thinking there's this coup d'etat going to happen. We are getting so close. You know, coup d'etat means there'll be gunfire. You know, they say when Nixon, towards the end of Watergate, Nixon's top aides all, like, you know, I guess what they call it, confronted him. You know, what do they call it when people confront an intervention there. Yeah, they got him and they laid it out, and he took their advice and resigned. You know, he took the high road, and the Capricorn, you know, he was a Capricorn dude. And I don't believe for one magic moment Donald will take that high road. He's already planning a total, he's encouraging the theory of I forget the word, it's so despicable I don't even want to remember it, but he's a terrorist. I'm looking at Donald Trump's chart now. It was in the Mountain Astrologer. Let me see what's going on with Donald Trump here. June 14th, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. Well, his day month is 11, and so this is a 22 year for him. I think he has his self-destructive. You know, Mother Teresa, I love Mother Teresa stories. I love Mother Teresa, bless her. You know, people don't die when they're still alive when they've gone, you know, when they leave the planet here. We're going to talk about that when I hope I read a few sentences out of my quantum book. But Mother Teresa used to say, I've seen a starving and the misery in Calcutta, but I've never seen more misery than the affluent in America. And every time I see Trump and all, you know, Stephen Miller's, God, that 28-year-old, he hasn't even had his first Saturn return. 29, I think he had his first Saturn return. God, and he's the #1 advisor to, and he's sick. Yeah, he's a sick guy. Well, Gemini, see, Donald Trump was dealing with Saturn on his moon, but now Saturn's in Capricorn in opposition to his Saturn. So over the next 2.5 years, Saturn, I've got some notes about Saturn. About how Saturn rolls, you know. It's the karmic planet, you know. If you've done good, you can expect Saturn to be more fortunate than Jupiter. Donna Cunningham, rest her soul, she just passed on recently, talked about, most people just assume Jupiter is the luckiest planet. No. Jupiter just gives you more, whatever you're focused on. Saturn, Jupiter expands, Saturn contracts. Fear contracts, love expands. Remember that. Write that down on your refrigerator. Love expands, fear contracts. So Saturn in Capricorn now is a good thing, you know, especially for the United States of America. Here's the 4th of July. Yes, Saturn will be our Venus. Saturn's in opposition to our Venus now. Yeah, fate is, time is coming in. You know, things are happening. Well, we're always expanding and growing. Nothing's fixed. We're evolving. This universe is expanding. We'll get back to that. Mike Pence, boy, Virgo rising. He's another Gemini. We got Geminis in the White House is full. It's a crowded house. You know, Geminis. There's so many of you. You know, which one? You know, you see, I used to have a Gemini brother. I think he's dead now. A stepbrother. We didn't get along because he was a liar. I used to hit him when he was a kid because he was lying all the time. Yeah, he ran 3 businesses and 2 marriages to the ground because he couldn't keep, his word meant nothing. Yeah, Geminis, they got that shadow. So in the morning, we'd have breakfast and I went home to visit. He'd say, can I have the car tonight? Yeah, sure. That night we'd come along and, oh no, I mean, stuff like that, Geminis, they have to really put some effort into being congruent. America's not being congruent with its images now. Its image, we have this vile. I'm looking for this book of where? Oh, here it is. I don't want to bum people out, but I had an experience the other day that just really drove it home about, America's more fear of considering death a horrible thing. Without death, life is insipid, tasteless, no flavor. There's this wonderful, death is an opportunity for growth. There's no way nobody doesn't survive their death. No one gets stuck between worlds, Nothing worse than a life, wasted life, not getting any knowledge. It says, if I had my life over again, I should form the habit of nightly composing myself to thoughts of death. I would practice, as it were, the remembrance of death. Because we've done it a lot of times. That's when people don't, they say, I don't trust natural healing. Well, it took millions and millions and billions of years of human evolution to get us, of life evolution, to get us a beautiful immune system, which we don't even take advantage of. I would practice it as if it were the remembrance of death. There is no other practice which so intensifies life. Death, when it approaches, ought not to take one by surprise. It should be part of the full expectancy of life. Without an ever-present sense of death, life is insipid. You might as well live on whites of eggs. Well, for a vegan, that's not an option. They say the American Indians, every day their warriors would say, today's a good day to die. This is, and then this goes right along with Carlos Ravelli. Reality is not what it seems. Journey to quantum gravity. This is beyond quantum physics. This is amazing stuff. But just the introduction alone, we are obsessed with ourselves. We study our history, our psychology, our philosophy, our gods. Much of our knowledge revolves around ourselves as if we were the most important thing in the universe. I think I like physics because it opens a window through which we can see further. It gives me the sense of fresh air entering the house. What we see out there through the window is constantly surprising us. We have learned a great deal about the universe in the course of centuries. We have come to realize just how very many wrong ideas we had. We thought that Earth was flat, that it was still the center of our world, the universe was small and unchanging. We believed that humans were a breed apart without kinship to other animals. We have learned of the existence of quarks, black holes, particles of light, waves of space, and the extraordinary molecular structure of every cell in our bodies. The human race is like a growing child who discovers with amazement that the world consists not just of his bedroom and playground, but as it were, it is vast, and that there are thousands of things to discover and innumerable ideas quite different from those which he began. The universe is multiform and boundless, and we continue to stumble upon new aspects of it. The more we learn about the world, the more we are amazed by its variety, beauty, and simplicity. The more we discover, the more we understand that what we don't yet know is greater than what we know. Now, that's a great sentence right there. The more we discover, the more we understand that what we don't yet know is greater than what we know. The more, amen to that. The more powerful our telescopes, the more strange and unexpected are the heavens we see. The closer we look at the minute detail of matter, the more we discover its profound structure. Today we see almost to the Big Bang, the great explosion from which 14 billion years ago all the galaxies were born. We have already begun to glimpse something beyond the Big Bang. And then he says, he quotes Plato, I won't read the whole book to you, but it says, in a famous myth created by Plato in the 7th book of the Republic, he says, some men are chained at the bottom of a dark cave and see only shadows cast upon the wall by the fire behind them. They think that is reality. One of them frees himself, leaves the caves, and discovers the light of the sun and the wider world. At first, the light to which his eyes are unaccustomed stuns and confuses him, but eventually he can see, and he returns excitedly to his company to tell them what he has seen. They find it hard to believe. Yeah, like, can't believe the universe is love, unconditional love. We are all in the depths of a cave, chained by our ignorance, by our prejudice, by our weak senses revealed to us only shadows. If we, it's like staring at the shadows on the wall and then turn around and just like, wow, They were making hand puppets. I did that when I quit smoking. I didn't know what to do with my hands, and bless her, my sponsor at the time, Frankie, told me, suck on cloves. It calms your nerves, and it gives you some kind of an oral tingling to get away from cigarettes. And also I would sit there watching TV, and I had nothing. That was when I used to smoke a lot. And I used to make hand puppets on the wall, get my hands busy. You have to have an imagination, like Bernie Siegel, Dr. Bernie Siegel says, those who don't heal don't have the imagination it takes. You have to have a schooled imagination. Train your mind not to go to those dark places. We'll talk more about that when we get into Pisces next month, because those fishes can go up and down. We want to keep them in the high waters, playing with the dolphins. We are all in the depths of a cave. Yeah, about our prejudice. If we try to see further, we are confused. See, in the West, confusion is a horrible curse. It's the worst thing you could see, confusion. But in the East, confusion is the Buddha mind. If you went to the Buddhist temple and said, "Oh, great guru, I'm so confused," it goes, "Oh, you've got the enlightened Buddha mind." If over here in the West, oh no, if you show any sense of confusion or wonder or an awe at the mystery, or hey, you can't pimp that, man. That's not a money maker. We are unaccustomed, but we try. This is science. So that's why this is science of mind. That's why I studied science of mind way back. And I still practice what I learned there. I just didn't want to be, I don't like the labels. I don't want to be called minister or psychic Frank. Organized religion is a trap for me, but that's just me. Because I'm a spiritualist. I deal with all religions. Specific, all roads lead to Rome. Scientific thinking explores and redraws the world, gradually offering us better and better images of it, teaching us to think in it ever more effective ways. Science is a continual exploration of ways of thinking, its strength and its visionary capacity to demolish preconceived ideas, to reveal new regions of reality, and to construct new and more effective images of the world. This adventure rests upon the entirety of past knowledge, but at its heart is change. Change is a good thing. We have a good moment, and we want to capture that moment for eternal. We should have a happiness that rests on nothing. Like we want that flower, that in that rainy day, and and I couldn't. Yeah, I had taken some herb, you know, and I was feeling extra. Everything gets so psychedelic for me when I use a little herb, and I was just really at one with this most beautiful flower, and part of me wanted to just. I looked around. I had a little knife in my pocket. I wanted to snatch it off, you know, but then of course I wouldn't do that because somebody else would have had that same experience when I was out of sight. So then I realized my Buddhist teaching about, you know, how we want to always contain happiness. We have a great experience. Like friends of mine went to this beautiful resort and had this wonderful vacation, and then they went back year after year, and it just couldn't, you know, they couldn't create it again, you know. Okay, so we are immersed in its mystery and in its beauty. Yeah, the world is boundless and iridescent. Iridescent. Think of a bubble in a bubble bath, or you're washing dishes, and all of a sudden a beautiful bubble, and you look at it, and the sun comes in, you see all those opal iridescent. Yeah, that's it. The world is boundless and iridescent. We want to go and see it. We are immersed in its mystery and its beauty. We're as far out of space as we're ever going to get, as Alan Watts was fond of saying, and I think it's true. I mean, dig where we're at. You know, we're paradigm changes that started in the 60s with Uranus and Pluto, and it's still happening. That's why I say what's going to happen over the next couple of months, I believe, is going to be helter-skelter, you know, because Pluto never gives us anything without, you know, death and violence, you know. So I hope, you know, there's not, I hope in this case there's an exception to the rule, and we've already had it, but you know, people don't give up power. Abraham Lincoln said, you want to test someone's character, you know, see someone's character, give them power. Look, we see all the power, Donald, the Trump, his real name was Trump. Yeah, they changed it to Trump. His character is, he got no character. He's got no character. He loves only gold. He's buying a staircase to heaven. He's a despicable person. You know, I don't want to spend my show going on about, but every day, I mean, and these people who call them, I learned what a mulligan is because I'm not a golf player and I don't have stocks. Everybody keeps on talking about the stock market. Anybody watching this show have stocks? Give me a call. This is a call-in show. I'll give you a free reading. Call me in, let me know what you got stock in. Nobody I know owns stock, you know. I probably will. I probably will. When in Rome, do as the Romans, and I predict this year coming up, I'll probably get a hold of something. I can't avoid it more if it's my destiny. Excuse me for coughing, because the mic's right here, and I don't want to. People complain when I clear my throat. Yeah, America's going to be dealing, there's not going to be one moment over the next 2.5 years where Pluto isn't in opposition, and Saturn. See, Pluto and Saturn are going to conjunct next year. And that will be, for America, 6th vibration. But by March, when Aries, all this Aries energy comes into play, that's going to upset our Saturn in Libra. And but if anybody thinks that, if anybody, you know, I had to look up what coup d'etat was all about. It means a violent overthrow, and they're already talking about the FBI is. I'm not a fan of the FBI, but I'm glad they're there. You know, I actually think they're hot. You know, I love men who can take pain, and I see these guys, and I know, you know, I read enough books to know that part of the CI training is they hold their hands over fire, you know, because they're tortured. A lot of them are captured and tortured, you know, and I please don't take me literally. I'm not into pain, you know, but I was just, that's my Scorpio 6 sense of humor there. I shouldn't judge it as sick. It's a good sense of humor, but not a lot of people get it. And I forget sometimes that a lot of people take me to the letter, you know, take me to the Word. And I do want you to like do hang on to some things. Like there's no halfway about health. You know, while you're still healthy, work. I know nobody's saying quitting cigarette smoking or trying to justify smoking tobacco is anything but suicide. It's anger. Tobacco is anger. Grass, marijuana is all about grief and sadness. So the more you, I remember when I couldn't even walk up a few stairs, and that was, I quit tobacco. I'd been a heavy smoker for decades, from 13 to like 34. And then I could see myself with an iron, you know, carrying one of those oxygen things around. And that's when I started. Every time I wanted a cigarette, I would smoke a joint. And then all of a sudden, I think a few months later, I totally I lost. It was a miracle. And I asked the Cristo Rey. There's a chapel, the nuns, the Carmelite nuns. Yeah, because it's more addictive than heroin. It was easier to kick heroin back in the '60s than it was to get rid of the tobacco. But it's all about not being a non-smoker. The reason I'm going on about that, because a friend of mine, a neighbor, passed on from lung cancer last night, for me, 64 isn't that old, and this was after 50, you can't party. Your party hardy days are over. You can't drink like a kid and smoke like a fish, because your body, says, okay, it's time to start transcending. So, the first 29 years, let the good times roll, otherwise you'll have nothing to transcend. I don't even see people except I talk to kids on the bus in their 20s, but for the most part, I deal with adults, people past 29. Because after you're 29, you've been Saturnarized, Oh, Robert Mueller's in great shape. His Pisces moon, he's psychic. He's totally psychic. I was talking to a policeman the other day, and he was a nice guy. And we had some extra time while we were stuck in the same room, and I said, well, let me show you what I do. And he said, oh no, I'm not into that stuff. And I laughed and I said, I used to be just like you. And then I told him what happened to me in '82 when I left my body and came back psychic, and we had a nice laugh over that. The more we discover, the more we understand. We don't, okay, so some men are chained to the bottom of a dark cave, unaccustomed, it confuses them. We are all in the depths of a cave, chained by ignorance, our prejudices, our world is boundless, irresistible, The incompleteness and the uncertainty of our knowledge, our precariousness, that's what 9/11 did. It got us in touch with our vulnerability, suspended over the abyss of an immensity of what we don't know. It does not render life meaningless. It makes it interesting and precious. Like Bernie Siegel says, the earth wasn't meant to be, we're meant to grow. This is Earth School, So it says here, getting back to these mountain astrologer things, feel free to call in if you want me to give you a lay of the land astrologically, pick a few cards for you. What it says here about what's going on, a solar eclipse on February 15th is sextile this sign's ruler Uranus, reminding us to value our newfound freedom and open our mind to different perspectives. You could wake up in the morning and realize, okay, I'm going to learn something today. I'm not just going to run my will. It's a wonderful thing in The Awakening the Buddha Within by Lama Soro Das. He wrote this stuff in the 70s, and I love him. I just found him recently, but all my friends I've known for years who are practicing Buddhists who aren't Asian. You just found him. George Washington said, right livelihood in the marketplace. Few men have virtue to withstand the highest bidder. George Washington said that. Back when George Washington was around beginning of this country, that's when gerrymandering started. So this gerrymandering isn't a new thing. They've been the right-wing Republicans put party over country Think about that. They're treasonous now. They're saying they're actually pairing our what is the mayhem. He's destroying. He's totally destroying all our institutions. The FBI, the CIA. These people put their life on the line to protect our freedom, our precious, precious freedom. And this monster, you gotta call Donna. You know, I try not to I shouldn't say the word try, but I shouldn't shit on myself. But you know, I don't want to see him as non-human. He's a pathetic human, and I just have nothing but pain and sorrow for him. I don't let it spoil my day, mind you. But it keeps me on the right track, you know. Eventually, I'll probably have some power before this game is over, you know, before the end of the road here. Virtue has never been as respectable in society as money. Mark Twain said that. Gotta love Mark Twain. Yeah. Craving or lust is, as it is sometimes called, is one of the primary five hindrances or challenges that Buddha warned seekers they would meet on the path to awakening. When Buddha Dharma speaks about craving, it implies psychological hunger and thirst, unhealthy desire, longing, attachment, and psychological fixation. Who among us is so completely fulfilled and content that he or she is above wanting of any kind? Like Bernie Sanders says, Dr. Bernie Sanders says, hope is essential for life. It doesn't matter what you hope for, health, peace, free to dolphins, winning a lottery, a right relationship. Hope is essential. You got to hope for something. When I was growing in the 60s, is where there's dope, there's hope. Who among is there nothing wanting in your life right now as we try to purify? Like Carl Jung said, when you're going through a purification process, be careful of throwing out all of your shadow there, because you might be throwing out the best part of yourself. Like earlier, I said something about I like guys who could take me. That's the part of my Scorpio shadow. I don't participate in S&M or anything, and you know, but. As I said, I love that part of me. It makes me who I am, you know. I can't delete my upbringing in New York City, you know. I learned, these eyes have seen things, and they still see things. Last night, my God, I can't even talk about it yet, but yeah, I experienced something. Something happened. The Rolling Stones had a great song, Something Happened to Me Yesterday. Brian Jones. I miss Brian. I'll see him again. I never really did see him in person, but I just felt a real connection to Brian Jones. I was so sad when he died. But I digress. There is nothing wanting in your life. Okay. It is said that a thief's vision is so distorted that even when he meets a saint, all he can see is the saint's pocketbook. Ask yourself, is there any, like people say, oh, if you're such a great psychic, Frank, why can't you win a lottery? Well, I can heal cancer. I can facilitate healing cancer. I can't heal cancer personally, but I've been part of the healing process and helped people heal themselves. It could... alternative healings are important. Alternative medicines, harm reduction. You know, I believe I'm really against alcohol. I don't believe that if you smoke cannabis to get into stuff, why do you want to numb your senses with alcohol? You know. Anyway. But if you're young, I imagine, yeah, you know, I had a lot of drinking to do. I actually can say safely my drinking days are over because I die. Alcohol is a progressive disease, and if I was to so much as begin drinking again, I wouldn't last more than a couple of months, which is a safety net. If I don't like it, I could go like that. I could go anytime. Anybody can, you know. But anyway, death is, as I said, I don't want anybody, you know, encourage suicide. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I believe, you know, where you take up where you left off. School does, you don't like get, if you know you don't like a class here in Earth School, ending it all is, it just gets worse. The next, it gets more intense, rather, not worse, but it gets more heavy the next incarnation. So no matter how tough your struggle might be, it's your honor, you know, that's at stake. It's you know, suffering, you know, wear it, you know. It's a suffering for me to turn on the TV and see this. But I know that in my heart of hearts, and I know as well as I know I'm knocking on a table here, if we did not have Donald Trump and his pirates, the swamp pirates from hell, we'd have to invent them. These are central casting. I mean, God had to, one mind had to reach deep into the bowels of the yuck to come up with that whole lot, you know. It's just, you know, there's no words, you know. It just makes your mind go, whoo. But it's what we need now. But what's going on, and I'm very aware of it, that they want a coup d'etat. He's not going to go out like Nixon did. He's going to go out like as I said, Donald's got a Leo rising. Mars conjunct his Leo rising. And this, it's going to be in February. And as I said, by March is when Mars will be opposite his Mars. Yeah, he can't contain himself. And he really insults the intelligence. You know, I saw a lot of, you remember Hogan's Heroes and all those reruns of the Nazi movies. It is this way, you can and you will, and one and two. When that little Spicer guy, right on the first press conference, when he said, there was never a larger reception for a president, period. This is the way it is. The Gestapo has spoken. The Fuhrer was a wonderful dancer, you know. It's like, man, this, and all these people just adore him, you know. I don't get it, you know. I don't even try to, because it would give me a headache, and I just don't want to. Robert Mueller, though, he's got, like, his sun falls on Donald Trump's, his Venus falls on Donald Trump's Mars. Yeah, I talked about that a few months ago. There's something really strange about that, you know, having somebody's Venus fall on your rising and your Mars there. This was fated, you know. So that's the thing. I believe free will is not an illusion, but at the same time, I do believe things are destined to happen, and we're here to help this evolvement of all. It's the Chinese has a saying, may you be born in interesting times. Well, how much more interesting can it be now? Paradigm change, nothing's even resemble. And you know, hearts have to be broken a few times to be open. So that's like I say, Louise Hay used to say, money is the easiest thing in the world to manifest. Does that statement anger you? Good. Now we have a place to start. Money is the easiest thing in the world to manifest. Doing it with integrity is where it gets really interesting. People do not trust life. They can't keep their hands off. I mean, you could set the boat in the right direction, but you got to give the universe a lot of elbow room, permeable margins. You know, no thick black lines around your margins where nothing can get in and out. Wake up teachable. Open, throw your arms wide open and say, and breathe in life. I am open to the abundance. The universe is this marvel. You know what you are? You are a marvel. Pablo Casales said that. He played at the White House. So we get a respite from all of this. February 18, the month begins on the heels of an eclipse in Leo on the last day of January, leaving us feeling confident and powerful. So post this end of the month full moon, we should awaken on the 1st of February. It's a whole new vibration. And feeling more confident and powerful with all that Leo moon stuff now. We get to more move out of emotion and into more detached process, objective thinking. Mars in Sag all month, blunt to the point. Beware of bluntness. You know, it's one thing about not dancing around wounds, but healing thrown like a rock isn't a good thing. You know, you got to be tactful. I'm learning that. I'm learning it slowly, and I want to apologize if I've hurt anybody's feelings. You know, sometimes I know in a few shows back I said something about a caller that I shouldn't. You know, but hey, I did what I did. No regrets. We get a more out of emotion and into more detached thinking. Yeah. Reply instantly to life. Look out for that. You know. Yeah, with Mars being snappy, you know, don't pop the first thing that comes out of your mouth. Eclipse in Aquarius, seeing life at a higher level. Leo, late Leo and Aquarius people there. Second half of the month, emotions return. Yeah. I found out, oh yeah, they quoted Comey back in late November of 2017, the FBI director who got fired by Donald. It says, he quoted the Bible saying, I think it's such a sweet sentence. It's from the Bible. It says, quote unquote, but justice rolled down like waters in righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. I love that. Yeah, so my thing is don't rejoice too much on Donald's suffering. You know, he's going down. There's anybody who thinks that's not is just, you know, doing their talking head thing on, you know, and want attention. For all, yeah, Donald, one for all, and Donald, all for one, and Donald's the one. Let's hear it for me. Yeah, it's all about him, you know. It's embarrassing because, you know, I think we all see Donald and we see a part of us that for me, it got beat up in high school. Yeah, junior high. You know, I remember going around thinking I was a little prince. Yeah, New York, I lasted around a good New York second. And being a runt, I was like Woody Allen, you know, braces. I couldn't break 80 pounds, an 80-pound weakling, thick glasses. And they made me always keep my hair really short and nerdy. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that part of my life. Well, your hair, when they shave your hair, they're taking away they're humiliating you. Your hair is your strength. And when they, you know, when you give a kid a buzz cut, you're taking away his strength. You're humiliating him. You're breaking his spirit. I see so many parents breaking the spirit of their kids. Yeah, Donald Trump dawned on me as Robin Hood, a perverse Robin Hood. You know, he robs from the poor and gives to the rich. It's just sick. It's totally sick. The Trump slump. Yeah, tourism is way down now. Spain is taking our spot. France is second, but we are no longer number ones. Spain. Yeah, so Mother Teresa's not here, so I wanted to pass that up. Yeah, so if you don't like the news, go out and make some of your own. That's a good one. We're down to the last few minutes here. There's no coming to consciousness, Carl Jung said, without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Dream big now. It says, dreams are like stars. You may never touch them, but if you follow them, they will lead you to your destiny. And that's a good place. Dig where you are. Yeah, you know, you got your challenges. I'm not trivializing, you know, you got kids to feed, you got a job you hate, you got bills, you know, but stress will kill you. You want bad health on top of that? You know, take a fast from worry, you know, and fear, you know. This is when your inner, I hate to use the cliche inner child, but this is when you got to talk to your inner self and say, I'm here for you. I always play, my favorite is Louis Armstrong, I'm going to love you like nobody's loved you, come rain or come shine. Yeah, I do that in the morning when I'm combing my hair, and I love that song. Yeah, my parrot and I are, we listen to Billie Holiday, Bessie Smith. Every moment we spend in higher consciousness helps uplift the consciousness of the whole world. Like that 15 minutes I spent in the rain, totally engrossed in this beautiful rose, the only one on this whole vast section. There's only two, and one more beautiful than the other. And I lifted my I can't tell you, it was like a vacation. I just felt so good. When people undermine your dreams, predict your doom, or criticize you, remember, please remember, they're telling you their story, not yours. Consider the source. When you hear this stuff, where is it? What mouth is it coming out of? It's life. It's all about taking chances, about doing something everyone said you couldn't do. It's about not caring what other people think. It's about learning to love what you have. That's life. Being yourself in a world that's constantly trying to mold you into something else. That's why Facebook is social whatever. I'm an antisocial person, and I'm proud to say that. My brain is only a receiver, Tesla said. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know it exists. I love you. Thanks for taking some time. I hope you got a little something out of this. And it'll be on YouTube tomorrow, and I appreciate my YouTube audience. I did stay away from politics today. I'm proud of myself for that, because it's out of my hands. But I do feel Jane Kim. I got to throw that in. I do think she's the best thing for us. I love you. I love you. I love you. Pay attention to your dreams. Leave your troubles on the end of your bed. Don't take them into the dream state with you. Namaste. Boom, 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 boom.